All right, we're going to go ahead and get started because I don't think everyone wants to be here all night. My name is Rob Gill. I'm the project engineer in charge of the bridge construction project. This presentation will be about the demolition and reconstruction of the US 27 bridge over the Depot District.
She's turning it up.
Oh, okay. We'll let them do that. Okay. So, Nathan Riggs, who will be speaking after me, is the project manager. He was in charge of the contract during the design and development process. And Charlie Emeny is the project superintendent from Beatty Construction. They are the contractor that has been awarded the contract and will be doing all of the construction over the next 2 to 3 years. The agenda for this meeting is we will give you an overview of what will be happening. We will try to give you an idea of what to expect over the course of construction. We will describe some of the detour routes so you can make some predictions for what traffic will be doing. And we will give you methods that you can follow our progress at various resources that the state will have available. At this meeting, I assume beforehand you've had a chance to review all of our placards that we've had out to describe the area. And where is the sign up? On the table over here is a place to sign up for text and email updates that we will be sending out periodically over the course of the contract. I will now pass off to Nathan Riggs, and he will give you an overview of the project.
I can't be tied down. I got to move around. Wow, this is great to see everybody here tonight. We had a public hearing a couple of years ago. Was anybody at the public hearing that we had at the 4th Floor Blues Club? What's it been, 2 or 3 years ago now? 3 years? Time flies. I was just talking with our project development team with Parsons. We've been working on this project together for going on 5 years. It's flown by. So I guess I just want to put that into perspective, that so much goes into planning and developing these contracts before construction ever even starts. That doesn't make it any easier. I get it. There's a lot of businesses, a lot of interested parties here tonight that have a lot riding on this project. We don't minimize that. The next 2 years are going to be interesting. It's going to be difficult for some of you. The end result is what we're shooting for, right? This is a major milestone. We're getting ready to start construction on something we've been planning for going on 5 years. And we'll get into a little bit of that here. This US 27 bridge, basically between D Street and North G Street, crosses over 5 city streets. Let me jump ahead. 2 sets of railroad tracks. We had to plan for potentially additional railroad tracks. We're squeezed in between 2 historic districts. And all of those things have to be thought through as we're planning the demolition and reconstruction of this bridge. Oh. There we go. Okay. So here's a map of the area. Is that a little too? Is that better? Is that too much?
It's better.
All right. So if you look at the bottom of this map, North D Street, that's right over here. For some of us are directionally challenged. And North G Street on the other end, up and over the railroad tracks on the other side of the hill, coming down the hill. That road is going to be closed while Beatty reconstructs that bridge, starting on or after April 3rd. Some of these local city streets, the 5 city streets that go down below, are going to be temporarily impacted by construction. And some of the city streets are going to be permanently impacted by construction. We'll get into some of those details here in a minute. One update that we have since we had the public hearing, some of you may have gotten this from the website, regular updates, but I do want to point out that Fort Wayne Avenue, our original plan was to try to leave that open to traffic during construction. We've coordinated with the city, and we've reached a consensus. We think it's best to close that down for the safety of motorists, pedestrians, limiting some of that excess displaced truck traffic from coming through the Depot District. And also, it will help with maybe with accelerating construction just a little bit, with having a little more room and staging area for the contractor. A little more efficient, I should say. The purpose and need of a project. Some of you probably have your own opinions on the purpose and need of this project. Some of you probably look at it every day and see that it cosmetically, even if you're not a bridge engineer, you can see cosmetically, you see the cracks, you see the spalls on the concrete, you maybe see the rust on the steel spans. The need is the why. The purpose and need is the why we're building the project. So you see all those things. Those are indicative of deeper problems. And I'm not a bridge engineer, but Matt here is, and he tells me what all those things really mean. Matt Kohut is our bridge engineer with Parsons back there. So the needs, the bridge is deteriorated. You can see that. I'm not a bridge engineer, and most of you probably aren't either, but you can see the deterioration. That happens from the weather, just natural age. Steel will rust, concrete will crack and spall. Things get older, and with assets like bridges, they get to a certain point where it's not cost effective to rehabilitate them any longer. It just gets to a point where you need to build a new bridge. It's going to be cheaper, and it's going to get longer life out of that project than if we were to rehab it one more time. Also, if you go up to F Street, Fort Wayne and F Street, near Mosey's there, you can kind of see where trucks maybe have turned into some of those pier caps, and you can see damage from collisions. And the sidewalks on the existing bridge, they're not really there. So we're going to build a new bridge with ADA compliant sidewalks to safely get folks from one side to the other. So again, bridge requires replacement, deterioration, collision damage. Replacement resolves the safety issues. With the pier columns, if you look through this area, you see a number of those pier columns. It's the legs that are holding the bridge up. Does anybody know how many piers are out there? Somebody read the form. Yes, we're gonna take that down to 7, correct, Matt? Is it 7? 7 spans. So all of those legs that are, I mean, I think it's a little bit noisy down there with all those bridge piers. We're going to cut that out so you can actually kind of see the area, which will, in my opinion, contribute to the historic district. You're not going to just see a bridge blocking 2 historic districts. It'll be opened up, so to speak. And then, again, the ADA compliant sidewalks. So yeah, 17 down to 7 piers. I think that's pretty significant. Not only is it just the visual aesthetic of it, but the safety element. We've got piers that are in the middle of city streets. It doesn't take a genius to know that we don't want cars driving right next to those. There's safety issues there. That is not a modern design standard, and we're going to correct that. Now, the new bridge will only have a sidewalk on one side. We did have a lot of limitations in designing this project. There are buildings that are inches away from the structure, and it's going to be surgical. Is that a, Charlie will get into the details, but it's going to be surgical in how they remove this structure. The entire project development had complications like that, but we've got a great team that delivered it, not only a great project, but delivered it on time. I mentioned earlier, we had 4 to 5 years to develop this project. That was not lag time. We had environmental investigations outside of the design. I mean, we had the railroad to coordinate with, historic districts, businesses, a historic cemetery, just a number of things that we had to navigate to get here on time, and we did it. We're starting construction when we said we would in 2023, and we want to roll that momentum into construction. Starting in April, which is 2 weeks away. You've seen the signs go up. The bridge is going to close on or after April 3rd, and we are anticipating full closure until fall of 2024, when the bridge construction is complete. There are some construction items that are going to continue after the bridge is open to traffic. Punch list stuff, as we call it in the industry, making sure that they wrap up all the fine details, cross T's and dot I's and things like that. So construction for the entire project might not be done until the summer of '25, but we do anticipate that the bridge will be open to traffic, fully open to traffic by the end of 2024. And I'm going to hand it over to Charlie with Beatty Construction to talk about how they're going to build this.
All right, good evening, everyone. Thank you again for showing up. This is a very impressive crowd showing up tonight. We're looking forward to work with you guys, looking forward to exciting project, and hopefully getting out of your hair pretty soon so you guys can be happy again. Now for the contractor to talk about how things are going to be closed down and all the miserable stuff that you're going to have to deal with us. So long-term closures, as Nathan said, starting in April, US 27 from D Street to G Street will be fully closed to traffic. And then also, as mentioned, Fort Wayne Avenue, north of the railroad track specifically, from 8th Street to North F Street will be closed during the project duration as well. And just mentioned on the PowerPoint slide, we will maintain access for local businesses, specifically Mosey's, Rumpke, to the east of the bridge, and we'll make sure to partner with those affected by that specifically. Again, the project map just showcasing the closures that we're talking about here, specifically just for the US 27 main closure. I won't really read this slide, but there's a map on the next slide that shows this better. But essentially now we're getting into the temporary local street closures that will be happening throughout the course of the project. So here on the map in pink, you can see along Northeast Street and Elm Place, we will be starting demolition over the bridge, over East Street first, and moving our way south to the end of the bridge. This is mostly because we have to receive railroad permission to work over railroad right-of-way. So once we do receive that, and we intend that to be within a couple of months, once we demo to the south end of the bridge, we will jump back over to the north railroad at section where we stopped, and then move directly to the north end of the bridge and finish our demo that way. So there will be intermittent closures as we're demoing above E Street and Elm Street. We'll be working specifically with those affected business owners, giving more specific information of when and how long those will be closed as we approach that. But E Street will be closed as early as the first week of April for a few weeks, and then moving into Elm Place directly after that. So those are the main pinpoints. The other thing that is mentioned on the map is there'll be some small sanitary sewer relocations between 8th Street and 9th Street along North F. We'll just be closed for a couple of days, but this won't happen until later in the summer of this year. So just a small closure there. Detour routes. Again, I'll show you this on the map here, but this slide is primarily for the US 27 motorist detour. So this is for motorists traveling along northbound and southbound US 27. So this doesn't really cover local street detour. This is for motorists, mainly from folks out of town that will be traveling along 27 and that can reconnect. Utilizing South A Street, North A Street, depending on which direction you are traveling along, Main Street, US 40, connecting through I-70. So pretty big loop, but this is to try to help motorists, avoid utilizing your local streets, jamming everything up as much as possible. So there's also a small pedestrian detour route. I'll go into the map, and I think these slides are going to be made available to the general public too. So if this helps you read through the map, you can have access to these slides afterwards. I'll touch on the US 27 pedestrian detour first. That is on the right hand of the slide, essentially using North 8th Street as the official pedestrian detour route. Whether you're north or south of the bridge, this is the primary detour route. And then for local streets, specifically around Elm and E Street, Elm Place will be closed throughout most of the duration of the project to pedestrian traffic. Those pedestrians will be routed to E Street, except for when E Street is actually closed. We will flip that and allow pedestrians to access underneath Elm Place only when E Street is closed. So whether or not you have a closure on E Street or Elm Place, we'll still have one of those streets available to pedestrian traffic. We understand a lot of local businesses are affected by this. And again, we will work our very hardest to get out of your way and to reopen those streets for you as soon as possible. One last thing I wanted to touch on was in community engagement. Beatty Construction, we pride ourselves on staying involved with communities that we work in. We're doing a pretty substantial project in downtown Indianapolis area right now with the Indianapolis Cultural Trail, if any of you are familiar with that. And we do spring cleanups with the Cultural Trail in the city. Any philanthropic or community event, please reach out to us. We would love to sponsor you. We want to support you. We realize that we are adversely affecting your businesses and your way of living, during this project. So we want to help give back as much as possible and show that support. And we empathize with your situation. This goes for social events as well. In construction, we work hard and we play hard. So, any sort of festivals that are going around here, we would also love to stay involved, attend them. We have some guys here. Our superintendent mainly lives in Richmond and is from the Richmond area. I'll be around plenty as well. So, we'd love to get involved with you with your specific events. I understand there are a lot of festivals that are specifically around the East Street area. And so please reach out to us, let us know, and we'd be happy to entertain and talk further on these. So, and then once again, maintaining access to local businesses. It may not be the perfect way, but we'll figure it out together, making sure you guys have access to your businesses directly, and we'll work through these challenges together. So, again, we'll be sticking around after this presentation's over for specific questions. We'd love to introduce myself to some of you. I've talked to some of you already, whether on the phone or in person here today. But again, Charlie with Beatty Construction. I'll be the project manager over this job for Beatty, and looking forward to working with all of you. So thank you very much. Oh, lastly, small item, small and big item. Working with Bob Johnson, owner of property on 831 Northeast Street directly. Just wanted to touch on, obviously, everyone's probably a little concerned and I'd say curious how we're going to be bringing down and constructing a new bridge next to this building. The answer is very carefully. So some of the things we're doing, including vibration monitoring. We have a consultant working on this job to maintain and monitor vibrations that are happening underneath the building, just making sure that we're working carefully, considerately, just to make sure that we're maintaining the structure itself. So that we just wanted to touch on that real quick and tell you we are looking into it, and we have taken extra precaution to deal with the building itself. All right, I think that's it. I'm going to hand this back to Nathan.
Skip to the next one, please. Okay, we are going to hang around for a few more minutes for questions and comments. We've got a lot of project team. If you see somebody with a name tag on and you have a question or a comment, please find one of us. If we aren't the specialist to answer that question, we will get you to the very best person in this room to answer that question. But we've got an entire team here to answer all your questions. When we break, we'll be up here with the boards. We want to answer everybody's questions here tonight. If it's a conversation, if it's a follow-up, we want to get you the information that you need. For this project or any other INDOT project, you can also go to indot4u.com. We've got a hotline number up there. I know sometimes people, they want a real person. Trust me, these go to real people. I work with them every day, and if it's about this project, it will come to this project team. So if you call a hotline, don't feel like you're going to get customer service that's not even, on these shores. They go to the Greenfield office, the messages come to us, and they have a timeline for responses. We document those, we track those, we make sure that the questions get answered. So don't shy away from the hotline. It actually goes to real people. It goes to this project team. There's a QR code up here. If you're not familiar with the QR code, take a picture of it, save it for later. This will take you to the Greenfield District website. We have project information there. We post regular updates. We'll be posting updates for this project, projects coming down the road. You may have heard about construction maybe coming down the road on I-70. The INDOT East Central District webpage is where you'll find information about those projects, or reach out to us and ask those questions you might have about those projects. You can also follow us on social media, Facebook and Twitter. You'll see the handles. Is that accurate? I got the lingo? The handles. If you want to follow us there, you can also get some information there. Kylie back there will be the one responding to any questions or comments you post to the social media pages. And Renew Richmond is a communications campaign that we've launched in the Richmond area. We've got a lot of work. INDOT has a lot of work planned for the Richmond area, following up on work on 27 that's been ongoing. Southbound finished up. We're working on northbound right now. That'll be wrapping up this year, and then we'll also start projects on North A Street, this US 27 bridge project, and there's more than that in the general region. And that all rolls into that I-70 project that's coming down the road. So lots to stay up on in the Richmond area regarding road and bridge construction. And lastly, I want to thank you for coming tonight. Thank you for being invested in this community, for wanting to know what's happening, for partnering with us. This is a major milestone for me as managing the design and development of this project, but we are definitely not out of the woods yet. Construction's just starting. It's a huge project. I'm glad to be a part of it. I'm glad you're here to learn about it, and we want to get through this together. So please come talk to us, ask us your questions. Hopefully we can alleviate your concerns. Again, thank you. Thanks for being here. Have a great night.
Then I was came back 2.5 years ago. My younger brother had to quit his business where it was, as did most others, because of the 8th Street being at a standstill.
I'm sure you can empathize with what you're saying. I'm from Terre Haute. We get the same stuff going on there. We're bypassing
So
Terre
what do
Haute.
they want?
Exactly. I think it's a constant tug and pull of trying to improve things, but yeah, you're also trying to,
Can they not get workers to complete a project? Is that a problem? They don't have funds. Why not be a homeowner?
yeah, I don't know.
Turn right there on North 20th Street and go across the bridge and take the right back.
Entirely possible they will try to do that.
Instead of getting them all down through town here, that's got enough better and they don't have to even get near.
And so we actually have soil coming up into the pavement process. And that, under the drainage